So we were going to take a bike ride today, but as you can see, the weather is not wanting to cooperate with us.
Yeah, it's pretty nice and sunny right now.
Right now it's pretty good, but you can see what it did just a little bit earlier. So that kind of cancels our opportunity of wanting to
go on a long bike ride.
The reason why I'm saying it like that is because I'm so disgusted. I'm so disgusted with every single weekend that I get a chance to go and ride my bike on a long distance like I want to. I can't because of the dang weather in Missouri, okay?
That's right.
It is the beginning of May,
yeah.
So I do understand
that it's spring.
It's spring,
yep.
And it's gonna happen, but that doesn't help my situation. So since we can't ride our bikes today, I wanted to talk to you about 5 things that I wish we knew when we bought our e-bikes.
Right.
So, because of the weather, let's talk about that.
So today, like JJ said, we're going to talk to you about 5 things that we wish we had known when we were getting ready to get our e-bikes, buy our e-bikes. And the first one that is near and dear to my heart is getting comfortable on an e-bike. When I was a kid, I learned how to ride a bike, and you have to understand it was a different time back then.
1929.
Yeah, basically. But the thing was it was all suburban streets. So I rode on sidewalks, and I did ride on streets. But it was a different time, and most of the time the streets were deserted because everybody was at work. So, and really, honestly, I really just rode on the sidewalks. You know, every once in a while you get daring and you'd cross a side street or something. So as a result, when we started riding when we were older, from the time our daughter was a little kid, we bought bikes, and we only rode on the Katy Trail, no streets. So I never had to get comfortable with riding in streets. So when we decided to buy our e-bikes, I didn't have any experience with that. So not only did I have to get comfortable riding what I found out was an e-bike that has a lot more power than a regular bike. That throttle can take you up to 28 miles an hour, and that was a little scary. Yeah, it really was.
Yep.
I also had to figure out how to dodge traffic. Now, I wasn't really dodging traffic because I had Mr. O'Reliable here who'd been riding since he was a kid in traffic.
I've been riding since I was a child in this city, like I've said on other videos. Mm-hmm. And so I know the ins and outs. I know where all the alleys are.
Right.
I know how to get around through traffic. I know how to look at people and stare at their eyes and go, you see me. So I'm pretty comfortable with riding it, but it's still not something that is super easy to do.
Yeah, it takes some practice to get comfortable with it. It did take me a little while, and it was just one of those things you have to do. You have to realize that as long as you keep your eyes on the back of your head,
that's right,
and you just look everywhere you go, and if you're riding with somebody, you have to be able to trust them to be looking out too.
Right, everybody looking and just looking around and trying to figure out what's going on and be as safe as you possibly can. And it is. It's taxing on your brain.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit of practice, and with a little bit of practice, it has been no problem.
Yep.
I'm comfortable now. We have to cross a highway every single morning when we ride to work, and I've gotten much more comfortable with doing that. Traffic lights are your best friend.
That's right. And be patient.
Yes, be very patient.
That's the biggest thing, because I'm not real patient. I'll start looking at the situation and go, I can make it. But what I'm not thinking about is if Lisa's behind me, then maybe she's not be able to make it. So just be patient.
Right.
Just make sure that you understand that you are in traffic and you are the underdog.
Right.
You're going to get your butt smashed.
Right.
So just make sure you do that.
Right. So I think that's really one of the really top things that when you're thinking about getting an e-bike, think about how long it'll take you to get comfortable. Think about the riding conditions. If you're just going to be riding it on trails and not on streets, then that's not something you'll have to worry about. But if you're going to ride on streets, then you really just have to make sure that you, and this is going to sound really weird, maybe practice on some side streets.
Right.
Maybe, on something that doesn't have a lot of traffic, and that way you can get comfortable with a few cars, and then you can build your tolerance up, which sounds really weird to say it like that, but it's true. So really, just getting comfortable on the e-bike was a big thing. And the second thing that we wanted to talk about today goes along with the first thing that we were talking about. Checking the fit of your e-bike before you buy it. Now that sounds really strange, but the thing was, when we looked at the webpage and we were thinking about buying this bike, the Turris, Ride1Up Turris edition, they listed it as a step through and a step over. And a step over is when you have that bar. It's like what everybody thinks of as a boy's bike.
It's the one that I have too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not. We'll tell you that difference here in another video, what the difference between a step through and a step over is. But JJ bought the step over because he's got long legs, and it was listed for a taller rider. Well, I got the step through, which is listed for a rider that's between 5'1" and 6'2", which is technically true. But the way they built it, it is a little harder for somebody who's on the shorter side to get their leg over the bar.
Yeah, I think that our bikes are just they are not true a true step through.
Yeah, they're not a true step through.
Yeah.
And so even though I've made it work, that was some work getting used to that. So, you know, I'm trying to stop, I'm trying to learn how to ride this bike in traffic, and I've got the added thing of having to be awkward when I get onto the bike or when I stop the bike and I want to get off. So that is the thing. If you're on the shorter side, or even we know somebody who's 6'5" who prefers a step through because then he doesn't have to, you know, throw his giant leg over the back of the bike. So really, that is really just the difference. It's the comfort level of the rider, it's the height of the rider that really determines whether you get a step through or a step over, and that is the truth.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't let anybody tell you that a step through is a girl's bike. It's not. It just depends on how tall you are. And really, even if you're tall, that might be the better way for you to go, so you don't feel like you're taking so much space up.
Well, also one more thing is that it doesn't necessarily have so much to do with even your height.
Right.
It can have to do with your fitness level.
Yeah, your mobility. True.
Right,
that is true. If you're an older rider, we don't have too much trouble with getting our legs up and over the bars. But if you are an older rider and you're great with riding, it's just hard to get your leg up, then go ahead with the step through, and then you'll never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And you can just really enjoy the benefits that you'll get from the riding, the fitness, being out in nature, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing. Just check your fit before you buy that bike. Another thing too, real quick, a lot of e-bikes are on the heavier side. I know our bikes are like 55 pounds, that's with the battery. Some bikes can get up over 100 pounds, especially cargo bikes. So that's another consideration. It's not as big a deal, quite as big a deal as the step through or step over, but it is a consideration if a heavy bike is going to be a tough thing for you to maneuver.
All right, the third thing that I wish we knew whenever we bought our e-bikes was a product that we did on our last video, FlatOut.
Yeah.
Now, look at that video and you'll understand why. But let's just say up front, if you buy an e-bike, put FlatOut, some sort of tire sealant in there. I'm going to say FlatOut.
It could be tire slime, it could be anything, but
matter.
FlatOut is what we use because it's really worked well for us.
Right. And this is kind of cheating because it's like this video is about things that we wish we knew, but we did know because before we actually maybe not, because we did buy our bikes and then we said, hey, we're afraid of
flats.
Getting flat, so we did get that. But we did put that in there immediately. So that is one thing that we
I think it was just a lucky fluke that we were so paranoid about getting flats because he used to get them all the time, that we went ahead and got some FlatOut.
Right. So make sure that you do that up front.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat this point up because we have a video that you can check out and you can tell how we love the product. But get some FlatOut for your bike, and then you don't have to worry about flats forever.
That's right.
The fourth thing that I wish I knew before buying an e-bike is simply fear of the maintenance for this thing, because you know, like I said before, I've had a bike my entire life, and as a child even, I was out, you know, changing out tires and making sure that everything was working on my bike because it was fun, you know what I mean? So whenever I got an e-bike, I thought, oh my God, you know, like I said before in another video, I saw that hub motor, and I was like, I don't know how
it seems so complicated.
Oh my God, it was so complicated to see how that was all going to come off and put on and whatever. And
so you had some doubts about maintaining it.
I really did. I really had some really crazy doubts about maintaining the bike. I didn't know about my new hydraulic brakes that I had. I had you know, disc brakes now, and like I said, hydraulic, so I have all kinds of questions on that. Well, you know what, that ended up just being anxiety that did not need to be there.
Yeah, it was misplaced.
Yeah. Fixing a bike, an e-bike, is very, very similar to just a regular acoustic bike, so don't worry about that part. I have changed out lots of parts on my e-bike, and actually the company that we work with, Ride1Up, or that we got our bikes from, they're real good about...
Yeah, they're excellent.
Yeah, they're perfect with their service, kind of leading you into how to fix things on your own, or take it to a bike shop and make sure you've got
In fact, I think they have videos on YouTube that tell you how to change things out if you need to.
They do. So, I mean, and think about this. Now, here's the one, and this is over 2 years that I've actually had this bike, but in that amount of time, I have personally changed out a controller for my bike. I've changed out a display unit for Lisa's bike because she crashed. And let's see, I've changed the rotor on my bike. And I've also changed the brake pads numerous times. So, and adjusted those brakes. So there's a lot of things that seem intimidating up front, but they're really not that big a deal. So don't worry about the maintenance on your e-bike. You'll figure it out. So quickly, I want to talk about the fifth and final point that we wish we knew, or thing that we wish we knew when we bought an e-bike, and that is visibility. Visibility is extremely important,
especially when you're riding on the streets.
Yes, we ride on the streets. We commute to our store every single day, and people just don't see you on a bike. They just are not used to seeing it, so you have to make sure that you are visible. So we've gone through all kinds of things. We've gone through just having, like, you know, the common reflectors and things like that on your bike.
Yeah, little flashing red light.
Little flashing red light.
Vest.
We had a vest on at one time, which was extremely uncomfortable. You know, every time we did something, we had to put the vest on. We had to take the vest off. We had to do it. It'd be
safety
sweaty.
Vest, yeah.
Just a safety vest, you know. And then we had our neighbor, who's a good friend of ours, and he said he was going down the road, and he says that he didn't see us until he actually got up on us. So they got me thinking that our most vulnerable side is going to be from the rear, because that's where the cars are going to be coming up behind you. And so I did a little bit of research on the interwebs, and I found that the most visible light is a flashing white light. So what we ended up doing is going on Amazon and buying a little light we call the flashy, and we turn that on every single time. Now, we've done some just kind of experiments and whatnot with on our own, and boy, I mean, you can see that thing from the moon and just bright daylight, and it's perfect. So we both have those on our bikes, and we're really thinking about putting it on the front of our bikes, even though doesn't seem to be as important, but in some cases it could be.
Visibility is important no matter what.
There's a little puppy over there that I'm looking at. Anyway, I'm distracted. There's two little puppies.
Oh.
So anyway, once the puppies are done, just make sure that you understand that you have to be visible. That's going to be the number one thing past you paying attention, is make sure that the people can see you. So You know, we'll put a link
link
in the description on the light that we use. It's supposed to be like 9,000 lumens, but I don't think it's 9,000 lumens because I think it would burn the whole back of my bike off if it was actually 9,000, but it is plenty bright. So check that out. And actually we're going to be doing a review on that, on that light because it's been so good for us. And it's, you know, just a little preview. It's battery operated and it's USB-C to plug it in. So we just plug it in when we bring our bikes into our basement, plug it in when we plug in our batteries, and now we got lights and we got it all taken care of. So visibility, make sure you got it, okay? So those are the 5 things that we wish we knew before we had bought our e-bikes.
Right.
You know what? Actually, there's one more
bonus.
thing, one bonus that we have on there, and that is
we have communicators. They go on the straps of our helmets, and they're made by a company named Senna. We got them from Amazon. I know there are other communicators out there. And that way it makes it a lot easier for us to talk because we're not screaming at each other in traffic.
Right.
So if he's like, hey, I want to try to go through this intersection, it looks like the light is green, I don't have to hope that he doesn't have to hope that I figure out.
Because I mean, think about
he's doing what he's doing.
If you have 2 people that are riding with each other, and I say, you know, a split second, which I do a lot of.
Yeah, you do.
Look, we can go now. You know. Well, if she didn't hear me, then she's not ready to go.
No,
okay?
And I get stuck behind him, and he has to wait for me.
And it's a lot of times it ended up being, okay, we're going to go over here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Yeah, yelling, and you can't hear.
But you can't really hear the wind noise and everything else. So when we got these communicators in our helmet, boy, that was night and day.
It was. It is a really, really cool thing to have.
Yeah.
It's a really cool safety feature.
It's safety.
Yeah.
It feels like it's, you know, kind of cool and whatnot, but it really is essential if you're riding with somebody else because you need to be able to communicate. You know,
simply, hey, I don't know if you noticed that pothole up ahead.
Right.
Or, you know, hey, that car looks like it's getting ready to pull out, and we're just getting to it. Are you looking? You know, that kind of stuff. So.
Right. It's important. So communication, again, it's one of those kind of products that we will show you down the line, but you know, and like we said on another video, we're not going to show you a product unless we're using it.
And we are using it.
And we're using it. We've been using
time.
it. As a matter of fact, I think I need to probably get another one because we use it so much. I think my battery is starting to get a little bit weird on it. But anyway, but it's still working fine and everything works good and it makes us so much safer.
It does. It really does. And we will include a link to that also in the description. So in conclusion, those are the 5 things that we wish that we had thought about before we had actually bought our e-bikes. And you know, it's not deal breakers. You can go out and get these things.
They're not expensive, the things that we're talking about.
But it's just some things that we wish that we had known and thought about before we went ahead and purchased these.
Right. So you can see we didn't get to go out and ride today.
Yep.
But what we did get to do is to talk to you about some of the things that I wish that somebody had told us before we got started on our e-bike journey. Okay. So and also, what did we do today? We were able to get outside and get a little air in us, and it's just kind of like we've said.
Yeah.
What's the
best thing to do?
Best thing to do today?
Go outside.
Go outside. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.